Welcome back to Factorio MSX Gigabase, our marathon tech priced, i.e. 4 times SpaceX Extreme, i.e. 16 times science cost for a grand total of 64 times science cost, i.e. all of these are now 16 million, 8 million, but 2 of each of those, and it's 2-minute research, and 8 million of the final research with 2-minute red and green, and also, of course, all of the satellite launches to get it, and then we have that 8,000 of each level 3 module and 25 launches. But before we get there, we have all of these other ones to launch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 10 lots of components in total. We've only done 2. We can't do the last one until we complete the science. We are currently working on thrusters. As far as thrusters go, we are in the area. Let's just have a quick look. We have exactly 15 to build. I think we're building just over 30 an hour, so that's kind of half an hour before it will be done. Although we are starting to have shortages in modules, I mean, it's still being built at 216 a minute, but you know, there's quite a wait because 216 a minute still takes quite a while to fill a 383 of speed 3 modules, and we're only up to 13,000. So what's that? Another 15 minutes even just to get that train. So I guess that's going to be a bit of a hold up unless I force it out of here now, which I don't feel inclined to do. It's a little bit messy that these two are empty and these ones, well, they're not full at least. Let me just have another look at this. Is there benefit in sort of forcing it through now? The formula is, for thrusters, you need 800 speed module 3s. Yes, there is definitely benefit in forcing it through, because it says it's got 13,000, and we need... we need 12,000 to complete this, I think. So what we're going to do is see if we can work out a way to tell the train here that it's full. I think it'll be fairly easy actually. This is interesting. This is the other bug I've got. It's supposed to have a go to speed module 3 wait, so that, you know, there's 2 bugs. I'm not exactly sure what causes this one, but it is another, as far as I'm concerned, it's a no-go for release until I don't have things that are oddities that could upset people. So, speed module 3. Speed 3. What's it called? It's out here. SM wait, of course. Let's keep my naming convention readable. So SM wait. SM wait until circuit condition, and we're just going to force it to go there now, because we don't need all of these ones to be loaded on board. We have 13,000, and that should immediately choose to go to DES modules, which it did without being kicked on, because that's what happens when it just arrives by itself. I don't have an issue with that part of the functionality. That should be enough to see us through. This modules will keep building, no doubt, because we're in a very short supply situation. But the 3 at a time has stopped because Production module 3s are at 32,000, so it is kind of set by the logic over here to not order any further. Once that's the case, I think green are still going though, because they're only at 25,000, so another 7,000 green, which is just probably interfering with other things that we need, but never mind. Let it go. How are we doing? It looks like we are coming up to here. This must be our module train. It is. So make the quick trip across here. While we're in this area though, I thought I'd show you what's happened at Iron 8. Iron 8 474. I have basically blitz mined this area with as many miners as possible. No beacons, but that should be fine. I mean, you can see it's actually got too many trains, so there's no way that tiny little mine can support 3 of these, but never mind. The other one is Iron 9. It is very much on its last legs, but it's also blitz mined, so it will be out of here very shortly. Coal 5 is still holding on with 22k left. Aha, this must be our module train, I'm guessing. So I'm in this area right next to dry dock assembly. I think I will just change this to hashtag SpaceX components, because that's what this is now. It's basically where we're going to build all of our SpaceX components. We are probably down to building them one by one. I'm not sure that there's any cheap ones as such left. That's not cheap, and that should be built basically in isolation of research perhaps. We have built those two. This one is nearing completion. This one, actually that needs a lot of rocket fuel. That could be helpful. I was building up to go for command because I didn't really want all 3 of the modules, because that's the only one I think that uses all 3 of the modules. So if we did command, while the science is cheap, that'd be a good idea, but I think burning off a bit of rocket fuel could be quite good too. So maybe we will do fuel cells next. But in any event, what I want to do is come down here. It looks like that module train is on its way out. 3.7k. We might have to call it back in a moment, if that's not enough. At least this is building. 14 now. 8,600 there. It says it's 8,500. 14, oh, 13. 13 to go. They need 800 each. Yeah, that's doesn't look like it adds up to enough, does it? We will need to bring back the module train. Obviously, there's some garbage sitting in here, like some of these things. That has caused an issue, but never mind. What train are you calling? Obviously you're calling the modules back immediately. Guess that makes sense, but they're not going to be ready for you immediately, buddy. Anyway, what I wanted to do while we wait for that to finish is actually come down here. We have 137,000 iron plate, 4,500 gear wheels. I don't know what I'm going to do with the gear wheels, but I would like to liberate the iron plate. The best way to do that is to probably Hmm. This one should have actually picked up on the one that was sitting in here. Oh, and we've got that O issue again. Maybe this whole thing just doesn't work for some reason. There you go. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to clear out this build here because we don't need it anymore. I'm pretty sure that, just before I completely do it, so that is just lots of fusion reactor. It's just a single intermediary, I guess, in terms of the fusion reactor, which we can build sort of over here. So I don't need this extra part to do that. We've done that. We've just about done that. Fuel cells is just all external product. Habitation is all external product. Life support is all external product. Command center is all external product. Astrometrics lab is all external product. And the FTL drive is all external product. So there's no intermediaries that I need to build, so I don't need this whole setup here. So we can basically get rid of it to save a little bit of UPS. That's what I'm getting towards. So let me just get rid of this excess train. I've got no room, okay. How much fuel you got? That's handy. Very handy. Okay, that's that. So 137,000 iron. What I need to do basically is to get an iron train. It's plastic. Find an iron train that it's on its way to iron plate, pick up one but it's not already in the stacker, this one, and instead bring it to Roboport iron. Roboport iron. Okay, you add Roboport iron. Roboport iron, where is Roboport iron? Until inventory full, go there, slide you up to there. So what we'll do is we'll use this train, we will reverse all of these around. Because 137,000 iron is a little bit much just to nuke out of existence. We may as well use the time we have got while waiting for our spaceship thrusters to, recycle what we can. Be vaguely environmental before I start nuking things. They have an interesting amount there, so alright, the train is on its way. What I really want to do though is basically turn those into requester chests. and they can request basically 100 iron each. And these ones over here need to be turned into passive supply chests so that we can reverse the cycle. But like your AC, reverse cycle AC. Very useful in the Australian winter. Very expensive to run though, damn it. Never mind. Okay, so there we go. So this guy is now headed to there, and then it will be able to head to here and then do what it normally does, I think. I might just watch it to make sure. Uh-oh, what's this guy doing? How come you came here? I have let this set up in a way that I don't want. We don't need you anymore, thanks. Oh dear. Alright, we have just mucked things up because I've zeroed all of this, and it has meant that this has counted up a whole bunch of these things, but never mind, they will just turn up and go basically. I think because there's a 5-second of inactivity that should trigger on all of them. And yeah, I busted things again. Never mind. We'll just ignore that for a little bit. How are we going over here? We have 8 to go. That's very good. At least I can show you something that doesn't look like I've smashed the factory. Let's have a look at this one. I don't know why we have an LDS steel, given that we have all of these guys sitting here. What else? Plastic, which I guess is all but inevitable. Look at all of the iron trains lining up here. Go on, go home. How many modules do we have left? 3.2 thousand, that's not many. 8. Anything else that jumps out? Yeah, copper's just working properly. So that's certainly not an issue. 20,000. That continues to slowly die. Oops. Maybe I will just give these guys a little hurry up to go home. How many are left? 19. Good grief. Yeah, when you screw something up, you screw it up badly on this map. Let's have a look at our not processing unit, our speed module 3 train. You've got 11,000 modules already on you. That is pretty awesome. How about we send you to speed module wait, because that should be enough to sort this thing out. Let's have a look at production. 224. They're both over 200 still. This must be maybe even as much as, well, certainly 75%, I would say. We're not going to see it out this episode though. I think we can be pretty sure of that. 7 to go. 17 trains over there to go. I wonder if we can find the one that we are actually trying to load up. Ah, that's it right there. So that one's lined up at the bottom of its roboport. Not its roboport, this is it right here. I kind of want to see what happens actually, since I've given it an extended kind of home base set of commands. Like it's got all 3 of these, because it has to go to iron plate, pick up 1 to get to ISP1 wait, which is where it gets its generic directions. So I want to see what happens, whether this causes an issue or not. It's kind of a test that I want to do. So it's out of here. That's fine for this bit, but that's fine because my mod doesn't do anything with that. I think that's it there. Finding a free spot. Very good. So yeah, that's the one. Now I can't imagine that all of these trains are just going to sit here. The level of consumption of iron that we generally have. Where are you going, by the way? Steel 1. Oh. So actually it does keep all of that. It should do. So with a bit of luck we can just use that one train to drain off all of our excess iron. 13 trains to cycle through here now. They're all full, so we're not going to be able to unload any on these guys, but apparently we don't actually have that much more excessive iron to get rid of, so possibly just one more load will do it. 12, 11. Oh, is this thing full? It is full. That is very interesting. Well, guys, let us go and launch some rockets while we wait for these other things to clear up. You can go to rocket cargo. What's this one called? DAS. Okay, so it's got the right return code, the right address on the mail. Keep an eye out here for things that we know cause trouble. Otherwise, put it away. We're about to start launching our thrusters. Very exciting. I did forget momentarily that they only there's only 40 in each of these, so we need more than one train load. But it's always good to get rid of these things. I do have another version that obviously I'm not on with this map, but when I implement it on this map I'm going to have to go around all of these supply stations and change the stations to a new entity I've got and get rid of this train subscriber. So that, plus I need to do a bit of testing on it and, well, finish it to a workable point with the new functionality that should make things move a bit better. A little bit more efficiently, a little bit better indexed. Quite a long way from there all the way down to the silo, and of course we've got this fairly congested area to get through. It really is too much stuff all jumbled together. Probably putting that extra red stack in here is what really broke the camel's back. May have been okay without it. If I didn't have that extra red stack and these two sets of module 3 production, this is a module 3 production. It's actually, if you notice, the speed modules is actually a little bit shorter than the other modules because we needed more level 1 modules, obviously, in the process of launching satellites. So we have a special Speed Module 1 build up here, and part of this build actually is to import the level 1 modules. We still make some here locally, but we also bring them in by train. How are we going? Almost there. Almost there. It is quite a long way down this track. Let's just watch the train, huh? This is where we are. With a bit of luck, we get a fairly free rein or free run all the way down. And also with a bit of luck, by the time this thing has finished launching its first 80, all of the others will be done, so we can actually mark off this achievement, this episode. Oh, I will need to specify that thrusters are a legal item to throw on board. There you go, that does that. Watch the bots do their thing. And airmuff's on. So, you know, between episodes, all I did was that minor mining maintenance. There hasn't really been a lot of truly dead time, even though we're doing all this fairly extreme stuff. I guess part of that is not to completely do yourself out of there you go, 8 in there. Not to just have ginormous or infinite ore patches, so that, you know, that side of the game is actually something. That plus obviously the whole you know, having SpaceX on makes the game a whole lot more interesting, certainly in my view. What is production doing at the moment? It looks like it's winding down, perhaps. It's actually fairly low for the numbers that I'm used to and expecting. These launches kind of talk for themselves sometimes. Let me just make sure that there's nothing obviously dragging its feet in there. Nothing obviously. I want to just go to map mode. Excuse me, and we will check how things are progressing here. We have got rid of all of that backlog. This thing is, well, we said to wait until full. It's not going to do that, so we'll have to send it on its way. And we will need another train just to clear out the remaining content. Oh, we'll need it more than one time, but that's alright. There still is quite a lot in those chests. Anyway, let's get back to here. We didn't actually check how many of these are remaining to be built. It does take quite a lot of resources to have this many rockets being launched, both in terms of power and in terms of you know, just the resources to fill them up. They don't actually say, I don't think, how much power these things use. Oh yes, they do. 72.8 megawatts. It doesn't seem like a lot. Half a gigawatt when they all fire up, or so, perhaps. Anyway, let's quickly check how many more components to build. Just four. Just four. And we are slowly loading up the LDS at the moment. Low density structures. Wow, these things do cycle very fast. Possibly just as well when you've got 100 to get through. So another quick look on that. Our friend O is in there, so I guess that's something I should check in just a moment. You can well imagine that most of these components would be being launched after we'd completely finished science if we weren't doing the marathon tech price, rather than during Theory A, I would tend to suggest. Where are we? Oh. Off you go. And silo fuel. Oh, we can always take fuel from here. Interesting. So that one is actually going to detour after it's dropped the fuel off to come up to here, fuel stop 3, where it'll get topped up from the rocket fuel in here. So there's the fuel stop 3, the 242s use this one, fuel stop 2, which fills from here, and this is fuel stop 1. When, if you don't have double headers, you just don't need the fuel at the back. You'd still have the same fuel names, but then you'd need the big wraparound to have somewhere for your trains to exit. And I haven't forgotten you if you were very keen to see more launching. I was actually hoping to get to a point where we would do another build in this episode, but I think we probably won't actually have time for it. I don't want to drag these episodes out, so we'll have to do it at the beginning of the next episode. I was also hoping actually to get through the clean out of this area, but that's not to be either. Where is our guy? Here he is, just waiting for some iron usage. Well, there is some there. There you go, the iron one has gone. I don't know if it was our friend. No, it wasn't our friend, so I have to wait for a different one. While we're just up here on the map, it's still loading up furiously. There's only 2 thrusters to go, so it does look a fair bet that we will actually get to completely finish the thruster component, mark the 3rd of the 10 components off from our list. We still have silo fuels appearing in there. I suppose it sort of comes down to, do I want to sit down and code my mod, or do I want to play the game? And the game, as I'm sure most of you guys are aware, is very addicting, so it is hard to just go, oh, I'll just code today. Do you have any fuel up here? You do not. I wonder if there's an issue with it flicking over between the two. There shouldn't be. So there is 2 fuel silos that should have triggered. That one's gone all by itself. And we still have 2. Right. After that one goes, we still have 1. There's another, like this one, I'm pretty sure is just going to clear by itself. I'd like to think so. Anyway, I'm going to clear you though while I'm here. Why is the one not clearing? Should be. That's a new one, as is that. And this seems to have slowed down to just 4 at a time. I don't have a big issue with that though. There's only 3 more on board this thing. So I guess there's a fairly good chance that it's going to take off and try and pick up all the rest very shortly. As soon as these rockets launch, it should do that. Over halfway there. It's a nice small list. And it looks like we're going to get pretty much all 8 at once. There you go. After this launch, I will go and check 4 there and 8 there, 12. Plus these 8, 20. That doesn't make sense. That's because there's extra ones in here and up here. Right. How are we doing? Finished. We have finished. So as soon as this guy gets here and fills up completely on the SpaceX thruster components, we can send it back and we will get the complete thrusters done this episode, launched this episode. Let's just check one other thing while we were up there. Here. This guy is not full, but the boxes are uneven. That could take a little while. How much is in there? I'm not sure if you mind missing a launch or 2. Maybe these are sort of all blurring into the same thing every episode where we're just seeing thousands of launches, but we do have quite a lot of building of componentry to go, and additional phases along that line. So it won't all be just like this. Let me assure you, you now have finished, so let's just say go on. We still need it to come here though, quite a few more times it would look like. That's alright. I actually need to do the same sort of thing with red circuits and steel as well. Wow, that's quite the list. We're almost back up over 300,000 green circuits a minute, which is good. Good to see. 60,000 red circuits a minute. Our little rocket guy is going to have to return pretty quickly if he is to keep this whole pattern going. It's actually in the depot right now, loading up. It has 20. This thing has completed. We need you to come back to rocket cargo, dude. So we will get the whole lot done. See if there's anything else hanging around here. A lot of green circuits that Let's just see if there's any weighting in an unusual kind of way. No, that one is just moving off. There's none here. And there's none here, so we won't need to interfere with any of the green circuits. Blue circuits is also fairly pressured or stressed. We're only going to get 4 at the moment. Hopefully our guy is getting close. It looks like it's quite a long distance to go. I guess that gives the rockets a chance to recover and make sure we get sort of another synchronized 8 to see this show out. Yes, we're completely out of the thrusters down at the silo at this point. We're coming down the detour, which is this piece here. I found it greatly improved traffic flow when I had 3 mini stacks in this stack. I reduced it to 2, which has certainly helped, but there's still, there's just too many exits and entrances along here, and that's really all there is to it, basically. This is actually probably a bigger stacker than I really need, and it dates to when I was doing this whole thing with combinators instead of this. It was like a clever design to help separate out which product was going where. It's kind of more than we really need for the design that we have here though, so I could easily trim it down a little bit, which would mean this perhaps doesn't need as many, it doesn't need to be 2 coming in. How are we doing? They're just ready to go. This guy has finished. Finished going through the bypass, coming out now. And this train is joining it on the bypass. Just coming down this length of Circuit Alley. It's quite a long trip still. Let's just see how we're doing over here. Our train's not back yet. There it is. Loading up. Can't really tell from that picture. And yes, all of the rockets are ready to go. Where is our guy? You can find him easily because he's little. This is kind of why I haven't color coded my trains, if you're wondering. It's sort of because the most useful map is about this sort of range rather than this sort of range. So you can kind of tell the important, or the special different trains are a slightly different size. Almost all the trains are the 383s, but some of the key, like my supply train and engineering train and rubbish train, are all 242s, and the satellite train is a 121. This little guy is a 121. So there is a bit of a spread. And actually, what I might do after this launch is just see if I can find the train count command so I don't have to scratch my brain and remember it. There we go with a synchronized 8. Just the 12 thrusters to go. They've all been delivered. Whoops. And that's because I was doing some stuff. That's the train count, I think. 536, because I took one away. If anything, I would like to probably try and cut the number of trains down rather than increase it, just for the bragging rights. If you're wondering why it runs at all, I don't think I can claim full credit just in my mod. I think it's also to do with the fact that we actually have separated train networks, quite a few of them, which maybe after this next launch I'll quickly go over some of our separated train networks just to show you something different. So we obviously have an inner main train loop, which I can't count the trains on very easily by itself. 40 UPS, that's alright. But yeah, if you look at our map, so this big square here, I guess, is all connected, and that's the main loop, where there's a lot of trains for sure, but if you look at all of these, like this is a smelter stack, this is completely separated. All of the ore trains providing ore here is completely separated. Ditto, that's just oil, which is part of the main stack. Down here we have an iron and a copper completely separated. They're both separated from each other as well, providing this green circuit stack. This stone is completely separated from the rest of the network. Over here, this is another iron stack with all of these iron ore places providing. That should be fine for now, but I might need to give it attention soon. Providing the ore here is a separated stack. This one here is the iron for Big Bro Steel. It also has a separated stack. This guy is never going to leave there, so we're going to have to go up there and sort that out. That should still be okay. Coming up here, ooh, this will be the last 4. And there you have it, guys. Thruster component complete. So 3 of the 10, 7 to go. I was going to do command, but I think I'll do fuel cells and then command. The last bit of our separated areas is the steel stack here. It just draws off these two quite nice sizable iron deposits with basically two mines on each one, two sets of two platforms at least. Those are also completely separated. As you can see, this is as close as the rest of the network gets. It's just for refueling, but it's completely separated. They come in here, they have to go straight back out. They can't get into the rest of this. That's part of the reason why our network works. But guys, thanks for joining me for this. I hope you enjoyed seeing the rest of the thrusters. And yes, I guess fuel cells and more recycling and tidying up this is in order for next time. See you later, guys. Bye bye for now.